So, hello and welcome to our Culture, Leadership and EVP podcast. Today takes us all the way to WCG at the Pershore campus with Sarah Jane Watkins. So, Sarah, hello.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to our land-based college here in Worcestershire. It's nice that you're here surrounded by the plants and you brought the sunshine.
It is lovely, hot and summery today. So
Probably a bit sticky actually.
A little bit sticky, yeah. I've worn the one outfit, but as we came through the doors, we came into this beautiful greenery, this absolute botanical campus.
Yeah, and banana trees.
Yes, and what a nice place to be, what a nice place to learn. So the first part of the podcast is all about you, Sarah Jane. So how long have you been in further education?
Gosh, that's going to indicate how old I am. So I've been in further education probably over 25 years now. So when I graduated, so my first degree was in countryside management from the University of Gloucestershire, and my second degree was a master's in marketing from the University of West of England. I graduated from my first degree and went straight into a job at Hartpury College. So it was the first job that I applied for as a marketing assistant, and I think I was 21 at the time. And I joined Hartpury College, which was a land-based college just down the road from where I lived. And I joined there at the start of a brilliant time in terms of significant growth. We had just started to really grow numbers in terms of equine, but also the development of sports academies and things like the Gloucestershire Rugby Academy, which is now one of the best in the country, probably the world. So I started my career at Hartpury College, and I was fortunate that at the age of 23, I progressed to Director of Marketing and Communications and became part of their senior leadership team.
At the age of 23?
23, so that was a really exciting opportunity for me. And then when I was 25, I had the opportunity to change colleges, and I moved to what was Filton College. At the age of 25, I joined there as Director of Corporate Planning, so very much in a marketing role, really focused on growing student numbers. And at that time, when I joined, Filton College, which later became South Gloucestershire and Stroud College, had 1,300 students. When I left last year, we had 4,000 16 to 18 learners, so really focused on growth and innovation. And my background really is marketing, PR, communications, but I'm a countryside girl. I've grown up in the country on a small holding, and land-based education and general further education are my passions. And so when the opportunity came up to join WCG, which is a large further education group with land-based campuses, this was just the perfect job.
It does sound like it. I bet the board thought, yes, where did we find this person? And amazing.
I don't know if they thought that, but certainly every day is a privilege coming into work in terms of going to the amazing sites that we have all across Warwickshire and Worcestershire, meeting fantastic staff, looking at the great facilities, working with some amazing students, changing lives, but also working with employers to ensure that we're delivering what they need.
Yeah, okay. And so you've been in FE now for 25 years.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what's kept you in FE? Why are you still here?
What has kept me in FE? I think it's because it is a fast-moving sector, and we really respond to what society needs. And unlike school, which can be quite traditional, samey, further education really responds to the latest initiative and really tries to support what is needed in society. So whether it's dealing with the growing NEET problem or the lack of engagement for young people at the age of 14 in terms of growing direct entry 14 to 16, or if there's mass unemployment or societal issues, I really feel that further education is there to respond to what the country needs. Likewise, employers in terms of their needs for the future and their workforce for the future. Without FE colleges, then the country just doesn't work, because we provide the plumbers, the vet nurses, the healthcare assistants. And further education is really about transformation and supporting people. People come to further education because they know that they're going to get the support from that environment, and we absolutely change lives.
Yeah, and also we've got to focus on being work ready. You've mentioned their employers, and it's the bringing of employers to real world training, and it's making sure that as best as possible within qualifications that we're matching that and meeting the employers where they are. And that's what a challenge to accept and what a thing to dedicate your career to. So what advice then would you give to somebody who isn't yet in FE, doesn't know anything about FE? Or how would you get them into FE? What would you say do?
I think because people assume further education is just about coming in to teach, and we have some amazing educators in the college. However, for people that want to give back, working a fast-moving sector, in a caring sector, one where culture is important, as is personal development, then this is an opportunity for anyone, whether you want to be a marketeer, an accountant, somebody that cares for others. So a large amount of our workforce are support workers, learning mentors, really just helping and coaching. And so the opportunities are immense. So estates workers, facilities assistants, HR. It really is a micro society in terms of all of the jobs and opportunities that are out there in the wider world, but you're also doing it in an environment where you absolutely are focused on supporting young people and adults to progress.
Yeah, ultimately it's a focus on the learner outcome, and there's very few jobs where job satisfaction is baked into the very core of the productive thing you do. Yeah. But what about people that want to get into teaching but have never taught? How should they find out about FE? What's the best route for them to come down and learn a little bit about being a teacher at WCG?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things that they can do is just give us a call, speak to our people department, who will talk about the opportunities with regards to come in and shadow some of our staff, look at the training and development opportunities that we develop or deliver for unqualified teachers. So you can shadow, you can go out on industry days, and we can support you in terms of getting you into employment.
Perfect. So just go on the website, look at it, come and discover, because they'll be happy to show you.
Absolutely.
And what's then the biggest misconception? So why do people look at FE and go, oh, no, I'm not going to do that? What's the thing that they think is true that isn't within further education?
I think people can be a little bit confused in terms of what is further education, and maybe the terminology further education can be a little bit dated in that it sounds quite institutionalised. Actually, it is a really forward-thinking, fast-moving, pacey environment where we are responding very quickly to changing policies, changing government agendas, but also everything that's happening out in society in terms of the COVID pandemic, knife crime, mental health, unemployment. We are here to try and ensure that young people and adults, no matter what is happening out in the world, and the world is a big, scary, uncertain place at the moment, that they have got certainty and support here.
Perfect. And you've had 25 years in FE, and this might be
really old.
You're not that old. This might make you think. So far in your career, what's been your proudest moment?
There are personal moments and there are also professional moments. So from an egotistical perspective, I suppose the proudest moment was probably getting the chief exec for Warwickshire College Group role. I was also very proud at my last college, SGS, at our recent Ofsted inspection. So we were good and outstanding in some really difficult areas. So personal and social development and also adult education. Also incredibly proud that we had previously developed direct entry 14 to 16 provision. So this is a growing area of concern nationally in terms of so many young people disengaged in education. And if you're disengaged at 14, you're likely to be disengaged post 16. So developed lots of 14 to 16 provision. Also really proud of some of the other initiatives that I've been involved in. So I've previously been been chair of a university technical college, so SGS Berkeley Green. I was chair at the pre-opening, supported with the opening bid with the DFE, and was there to take it through to the first year of opening, and the successful first year where we've hit about 400 full-time students. So lots of professional things that I am proud of. I think other things that really make me pleased in terms of where I've been career-wise. In the last Ofsted inspection that I had at SGS, I think one of the things that really shone was the fact that staff commented on the positive culture and positive leadership. And that is really important because staff deserve to be well led, to feel supported, but also to recognise that they are valued. And that is something that I absolutely want to ensure is felt here at WCG.
So, Sarah Jane, you've told me actually that WCG are going through a process to identify and then roll out some new values. So quite a lot of my questions now are going to be talking about what we do in the future with those values. So can you describe just quickly for us what WCG's existing values did? Where were they, or where did we find them?
Okay, so I think to be open and transparent, as many people are aware, when I joined last September, so September 2024, the college was placed into intervention shortly after that, so at the end of September. So wham, I'm here we go. And we were placed into intervention for financial reasons, and as a result of that, we've had a very tight turnaround plan, and our aim is to get out of intervention within the next 12 months. But as part of that intervention process, we have had to develop a whole new strategic plan. That was one of the targets set by the Department for Education in terms of how do you exit intervention. And as part of that, we have done a huge consultation exercise with regards to where are we strategically and what are our values for the future. So we've developed a new strategic plan which has enabled us to consult widely with our staff, our students, employers, every stakeholder, so that we can develop a strategic plan that is fit for purpose for the future, so around 4 pillars, and that's our students, our stakeholders, our staff, and then the sustainability of the organisation going forward, not just around environmental sustainability, but ensuring that we've got a sustainable business model. So as part of that whole strategic plan, we've reviewed our values as well, and these have been driven by the feedback from staff and students and stakeholders. And we have a new values statement which is derived around the phrase impact. Mm-hmm. So everything that we do, we always have to question, why are we doing it? What's the impact? And impact stands for, and I will just look at my notes because I can't quite remember the words totally off the top of my head yet. So innovative. So what are we doing in terms of being dynamic, being responsive, and ensuring that we are really paving the way for the future? Mindful. So the decisions that we are making, how are they going to impact our students, our staff, our stakeholders? Are we being considered? Progressive. We want to ensure that everything we are doing, both for our staff and for our students and for our partners, is really helping them to progress and develop. Ambitious. We want to be back up to where we were previous. We want to be an outstanding organisation. We want to be strong financially, and it's being ambitious and really focused on that end goal. Collaborative. We really have to grow our partnerships, so being responsive to what stakeholders, employers, industry needs, so that our curriculum is absolutely right for them, but also right for our students. And then transformative. So everything that we are doing, it's about how are we transforming from where we were to where we want to be. And that impact framework and those impact values, that's for the college overall as a collective, as a group, and for the campuses, for our staff, but also for our students, and that is then feeding through in terms of lesson plans, schemes of work, and everything that we are going to deliver in the curriculum moving forwards.
Okay, so that sounds like quite a lot of work, and we have only been here 9-ish months.
It's like having a baby.
And obviously we've had that weight of we need to do this, and we want to do this for the students. So what process have we gone through to identify these values? How did we engage with our staff, students and stakeholders to bring these out?
Yeah, so since we were placed into intervention last autumn, I think it's very clear to be very open and honest with staff and students. So we've had lots of all-campus briefings where I stand up front and centre and just talk to staff about this is where we are, this is why we're here, this is what we're going to do about it. These are the things that we have to deliver, and it's about that openness and honesty in terms of the journey that we are on, rather than hiding the situation. It's about owning the situation, and being very clear that we have been set a number of key targets by the Department for Education. Delivering a new strategic plan is just one of those, but part of that is being very clear in terms of the consultation process that we need to go through. So we've done lots of all-staff questionnaires, focus groups, and really getting the feedback from staff through various iterations of the strategic plan. And it's that ongoing dialogue. It's also about accepting that a strategic plan isn't set in stone for the next 4 years. Things change. We're in a rapidly changing country and global society, and it's about being highly responsive to how things change. And so as a board, now quarterly we review the strategic plan, we review progress against those strategic targets, but we'll also flex to ensure that we are being responsive to what government, society, employers needs us to be.
There's quite a lot of stakeholders, and it sounds like quite a lot of process to go through, and in the end they've come up with impact. And now we've got the job to embed this into the organisation. So what's your strategy over the next 12, maybe even 4 years, to embed these values into the organisation?
Yeah, I think it's all very well and good having a snazzy title such as impact and then thinking everything else is going to happen. I think you lead by example. And my approach is be visible, be open, honest, and just be authentic in that, yes, I'm Principal and Chief Executive. I'm also a mother, and I run a small holding. I've been a carer. I've juggled a terminally ill mother. I've had cancer in the family. And you have to accept that you're a person as well, and you're not a robot. And I want my staff to know that and to relate to that as well. And it's about just showing that you're a person, and that what you ask your staff to do, that you are prepared to do that as well. I have been fortunate in that where I worked previously, but also here, I've had fantastic support from the governing body. The previous chair of governors that I worked with at SGS was fantastic when I was going through personal issues with cancer in the family, and knowing that I had that level of support has been really important and powerful for me. And I want my staff in this organisation to know that they've also got that level of support. So whilst it can sound very cheesy in that we aren't a family here at the college, because sometimes you have to make difficult decisions that hurt individuals, but I want staff to know that if they're going through difficulties or if things are hard, that I understand that, and that we will give them the support that is required, because I've received that and it was so important for me.
So the intention is to live the values, and then live the values through the SLT into the middle managers, and then into the general workforce. Absolutely,
and I think it's not going to happen overnight. Yep. It is going to take time, and currently WCG has 6 colleges. We're going through a process of rationalisation, and we'll be rationing down to 5 from this coming September. And my view is that leaders have to be visible, and what I tend to do, as do the executive leadership team, is to spend a day a week at each campus to have fewer meetings, but just to walk about, chat to staff, chat to students, understand what's happening. And sometimes I think staff think, oh gosh, she's here again, because every time I walk around there's a new idea or a new initiative, or can we do X, Y and Z. But nothing gives me more job satisfaction than going down and speaking to the farm manager at the Mawson Morrell farm, or going into the Leamington Spa Bistro, which is run by our supported learners, or just walking around Pershore and speaking with the estate staff. I think it's really important that you've got that connection with all staff, no matter what level, and that is something that I was always brought up to treat everybody equally, whether you're the CEO or facilities assistant. Everybody is giving their all and all contributing to changing lives.
Brilliant. And you've spoken there about having 5-6 campuses and soon to be 5. Culture is an interesting thing, and it sometimes differs from campus to campus. What's your plan for managing culture across various campuses?
I don't think it's correct to impose a homogenous culture across the whole organisation, because every campus is absolutely different, and that's something we should celebrate, and I love the differences. So we are a group. We are soon to be 5 colleges within that group, 2 of which are land-based, 3 are general FE. Every campus is different, and we absolutely celebrate that. At each of the campuses, we have a campus principal with heads of school reporting to that campus principal, and they will run that campus as they see fit within our general values, but absolutely building on the strengths that each of those sites has.
That's something that's quite interesting about culture, is the way that I explain it to my SLT is you can have higher levels of culture at different campuses, but they can't breach the baseline standard of what we expect. So here are the behaviours that exhibit impact, and as long as we're exhibiting those behaviours, we can go above and beyond. We can take them and we can exhibit them in slightly different ways, but we can't come down from culture. Is that something you share, or do you think that people need to follow their own rules and have it their own way?
I think there will be a very clear framework that we will operate within in terms of expectations and standards, both for staff and students. But in terms of how we deliver that on the ground, I think we have to recognise that at different sites there are different learners, different cohorts, different levels, and so that you will work within that standard to deliver the best outcomes for those individuals.
And if I were to go round and speak to a random lecturer, a random campus, do you think they would have known your old values from before?
They may have. Certainly, I didn't know the old values when I joined. We've tried to simplify things as a new executive leadership team, because sometimes less is more, and to be really focused on what it is that we absolutely want to deliver and can deliver.
Do you want your stakeholders to know about your values of impact as well? Or do you want them to share in those?
Yeah, absolutely. So as an example, this Friday we have the first of 2 employer conferences that we are holding, and this will become an annual thing, really to talk about how we are working with employers to respond to their needs. We'll be talking to them about our new strategic plan and the values, but also how that will then resonate in terms of the work that we are doing with them.
So your plans for the future, how do you think that's going to positively impact the workforce at WCG?
I hope it will positively impact the workforce at WCG in terms of being excited, in that there is a world of opportunity within the FE sector, and we are quite nimble in that things are quite fast moving, and if you have an idea, if you have an initiative, you can make things happen very quickly, and nothing is more empowering and exciting than having an idea and getting the support to deliver that. So I think that the marketing department must loathe me in that marketing is my background, and so I probably come up with too many ideas, and it's like, oh God, she's off again. But already in the last 9 months, we have come up with many new initiatives in terms of new sports academies, the consolidation of 2 campuses into one, bringing general FE provision into a land-based college in order to ensure its future viability. We've had a new strategic plan. I can't remember all of the other initiatives, but it's about how do we make this exciting. I think some of the other things that I'm also quite pleased with in this first year is the fact that we want to ensure that staff feel part of something bigger, in that we've had a tendency to be quite insular, in that as a college group, sometimes we don't utilise the power of one, in that, as an example, we have our first all-staff conference at Morton Morrell on the 30th of June. This is the opportunity for all staff across all campuses to come together to celebrate, to reflect on everything that they've achieved in the last year, also to understand where the organisation is going over the next 2 to 3 years, and to then feel that they're part of that, but also have time to reflect, celebrate, and be part of that wider tea. So we are fingers crossed for good weather, because we're having afternoon tea, we're having tours of the farm, we're having line dancing events, we're also having serious sessions in terms of work-life balance, mental health and well-being, and also how can we use AI better as an organisation for both teacher workload but also general workload across the organisation. I want staff to feel that if they have an idea, it is listened to, it is supported, that they can be innovative, because leaders don't come up with everything. Leaders are there to facilitate everybody else, because everybody else are the experts. We just provide that culture and that environment that they feel safe to say an idea, to say an initiative, and they get the support to make it happen.
Brilliant. And finally, how important do you think values are to a college leader and to the organisation?
I think values are important in terms of, yes, we have a written set of values that we are going to work to in terms of the impact values, but there are far more values that are unwritten. And it's really about your attitude and your approach, and how do you work with your staff, how do you work with your students, in that all leaders should be approachable. We're all people, nobody's a robot, nobody's better than anybody else. We all come into this world the same way, we all go in the same way, and we're all trying to do the best we can in what can be quite a difficult sector. A difficult environment that we're working in, because society is changing, things are challenged, and we're all here for the students. Values are important in terms of your overall framework, but it's all of the unwritten values in terms of how you treat and work with others, and the respect that you give to individuals.
Culture is quite an interesting thing. So if you ask someone to describe culture, they go, I'm not really sure what it is, but I can't quite put my hand on it. And what the dictionary says is that it is the collection of values and behaviours that create culture. So almost the DNA, the feel of an organisation as you come through the door. And I think that is massive, because it's not about that. It's not about impact. It's actually about what behaviours that underpins that mean that this is a fabulous place to work and a fabulous place to thrive in a career.
Yeah, and you should feel that from the moment that you walk into reception, as a visitor, as a student, as a parent, as a prospective member of staff. If you get a great welcome on reception with a friendly staff member who makes you feel at home automatically, that sets the tone for the whole organisation. Those are our values, the behaviours.
So what are the 3 benefits that WCG offer to people that want to work here?
So certainly coming in as a new member of staff, and I've been on that journey as well, and I've been through that whole starting a new role. Even if you're coming in as the leader, you still have that anxiety in terms of where are the toilets, how do you use the printer, how do you use the computer system. And I think the overwhelming thing that has made it so much easier is just how friendly and welcoming all of the staff are, in that this every site that you go to, it's that overall positivity and the friendly feel of the campuses. I think we can't hide from the fact either that we have got some beautiful sites. So all of our campuses, so Rugby, Leamington Spa, Warwick Trident, and our 2 land-based colleges, Moulton Moral and Pershore, set in fantastic settings. So lots of countryside, even our inner city sites, they have got walks into town. And in terms of that whole mental health and well-being, the environment that you're working is incredibly important. So the fact that you can go outside, you can see sheep, cows, horses, plants, lots of plants, but you can walk by the river as well. I think that the whole, how that impacts in terms of your mental health and well-being is vitally important.
And what's that third thing? What's the third thing that gets them through the door?
I hope the third thing now is the fact that they are here to change lives and supporting students and making a difference to young people who A, know what they want to do, or B, are unsure, or C, those students that have had a really difficult and challenging start to life. And I think no matter who you are, whether you're a teacher, a support worker, or the staff in the corporate services, we're all here because we are making a difference.
I think that rings true, and it will probably ring through in your strategic plan, and we'll see it even more in those embedded values. So beyond salary then and material benefits, what's that one thing out of all the things you've mentioned and all the things that are really special here? What's the one biggest reason that people come here?
I hope that they now see opportunity in that we have been through a difficult time and there's no hiding from that, and we are still going through that process, but we're very clear on the exit of intervention. And across every site and campus that I go to and the staff that I work with, we are talking about new projects, new developments, new initiatives, new programmes, new schools within colleges. And it really is about opportunity for our current staff to progress, and we're really keen on developing and supporting internal progression, but also the opportunity in that if you've got a great idea and we think it can work, let's go with it. And I really hope staff feel supported, whoever they are, at whatever level, that we can fly with those opportunities.
And that kind of builds really neatly into my next question, which is all centering around progression and what WCG does to support people's progression, because it sounds like you've got that innovative approach, which is if you've got a good idea and it's safe to do so and it's done in a well-measured way, we can try almost anything, provided it's sensible and it's safe. How else do you support people's progression and their routes through FE?
So as part of our new strategic plan, we've also developed a people and professional development new strategic plan new strategy, which is really about how do we grow our own and develop that internal talent. So we have a very strong staff development department here, and it's really about how do we ensure that we are putting in the framework so that individuals can progress and flourish. So we've introduced an annual reflection process. So this is the opportunity to sit down with your manager and discuss what are your hopes, aspirations, career development needs, and how can we support you in your development to stay and progress at the college. And there they are outside doing some amazing things now. So those are our staff. It really is about working with our staff because we want to retain as many of our staff, and we have fantastic staff retention. Actually, we have one of the lowest attrition rates in the country. So we're just about 7% of our staff turnover every year, when the sector average is about 17%. So staff, once they arrive at the college, love the college, but it is about how can we ensure that those individuals are supported to progress.
So if you could improve one area of what WCG offers, what would it be?
Honestly, I think if I could change one area at the moment, it would actually be the remuneration, in that we are a college that has been challenged recently financially. And as a result, it has been the staff that have probably taken the greatest brunt of that. We are addressing that now in terms of using our finances wisely to look at the remuneration packages for staff to ensure that they are fairly remunerated and rewarded, and that we are comparable with our local competitors, but also the national position on pay. So it is something that hasn't been where it needs to be, but we are absolutely focused on that for the future, and that is a key strategic aim.
Yeah, okay. And I think most people understand that it's all right to talk about people wanting to progress and mastery, but if someone isn't paid fairly so that they can afford to, mastering qualifications doesn't pay someone's mortgage. And I think fundamentally we need to make sure that our financial packages meet people's needs, and I think it's fantastic you're recognising that. And so, do you feel that the EVP is going to change over time? That once you're at the other end of this strategic plan, that your values and what you offer people in terms of your EVP are going to be different?
I think we would be foolish to say that they're going to stay the same, because all organisations need to change. I mean, we probably won't change them on a monthly basis, but we need to reflect what's working, what's not working, how is this impacting staff, how is this impacting students. So we want to be viewed as an organisation that is all organic and really changing to respond to the needs of others.
So, Sarah Jane, we are through the bits about culture, we're past the bit about EVP. We now understand a lot about what WCG offers its people, what its plan is for its values. But we need to know a little bit more about you. So how would you describe your leadership style?
Yeah, that's always a very difficult question to answer, because I am who I am, and it sounds like I'm going to break into song there, but you have got I have a DNA in terms of how I approach things, and that I own mistakes. I think communication is key. So one of the things that I am really focused on is that we do a weekly newsletter to all staff. I'm highly visible. I'll make a nuisance of myself in that I'll go into offices, I'll go into staff rooms, I'll go into classrooms and talk to people. I also want to ensure that I am visible from a communication perspective with regards to staff briefings. So we do a termly all staff briefing at every single campus, and we talk about where we are, the journey that we're on, what still needs to be dealt with, the progress that we've been made, but also to recognise that staff are making a brilliant impact and to thank staff. I think it's important to recognise everybody's achievements, from the big things to the little things, and the difference individuals make. And I don't really think of this as a job, in that I come here every day because I really enjoy it, and to me this is about working with people that I really like and making a difference. And how I approach my work here is very similar to how I approach home and life and family, and whether it's being outside with dogs and animals or being with my children. I want to enjoy what I'm doing work-wise, and I want my staff to enjoy that as well. And if you can show that you're enjoying it, then hopefully that will start to resonate with others. But to say what is my leadership style is very it's hard to condense it, because I think it's about being visible, being open, communication. I'm not afraid to make difficult decisions. I'm not afraid to own mistakes.
Do you think the word is authenticity?
Yeah, this is me.
Yeah, I think straight up, exactly as you are. I think an authentic leader would be that. So in your journey so far in leadership, have you had a role model, a guide, an ambassador, someone that you look up to that's taken you to this point?
I think there have been lots of people that have had a positive impact on me during my career. I think the first person, and you often think back to that teacher, don't you? And this is why working in education is so important. So when I was at primary school, I had a fantastic head teacher, Mr. Hale, who I don't think is with us anymore, but he was really just a kind, caring individual that the pupils all loved him. And I think he was the greatest impact on my formative years. Then my parents sent me out at the age of 14 to get a weekend job, and I had a fantastic role model there. And I worked for an organisation called Midlandshire Farmers at the time, and I was a retail assistant in an agricultural store, which I absolutely loved. And I had a really fantastic role model there called Jeff Fletcher. But during my career in further education, I worked at Hartbury College. I worked under Malcolm Wharton, who still I have a lot of contact with now. he was my first role model and mentor, and I've taken a lot from Malcolm. But also my work at SGS, I was really fortunate. I worked very closely with Kevin Hamblin. We had a fantastic working relationship, and we complemented each other in terms of our skills. But there are lots of others within the sector that have really had a positive impact. So I'm currently doing a lot of work with Colin Booth from Luminate, and I love his style, love his stance, and how he operates. Luminate is exactly how we are structuring WCG for the future. But there is something about his presence, but in a very authentic way that is valued by his staff. So lots of people have had a really positive impact on me. But there are many students as well that when I walk around the college, so we're at Pershall today, there's a couple of supported learners here that are absolutely fantastic, and I baked Rocky Roads for today because I promised that I would, because every Friday they bring me a latte from their coffee shop duties, and they always ask for biscuits. So today's their last day of term and I've made them Rocky Roads. So there are lots of people that have an impact on me, and I think at any one time there are individuals that you're just learning from, and we're a learning organisation, and when you stop learning you need to give up.
I think you're right. Are you currently undertaking any formal sort of leadership training at the moment?
So I have really benefited from the ETF CEO program at the Saïd Business School. So that was my last formal training. However, I'm doing lots of informal training at the moment in terms of because we're in intervention, I've really benefited from the support of the Further Education Commissioners team. So they have opened lots of doors for me in terms of connections made, and I really value those. So Colin Booth is an example of that, and you learn from each other in this sector. And I always view intervention, Ofsted, everything like that as free consultancy, because going around visiting all of these other colleges, it's just a great opportunity to pinch some of these ideas. So continually learning.
And that's one thing I love about this podcast, is that actually as we go through, we get to meet all of these leaders who are so willing and open to share. So they don't gatekeep anything here, right? Because within further education skills, we are just trying to do the best for the learner. And if that means that you've got to give away some critical thing to your success, that means someone else is going to get outstanding or good or better, that's fine. That's just a cost to play in this particular sector, right? And I find that massively important. You can reach out to any senior FE leader, and if you ask for help, I think help would come.
Absolutely. And that is the strength of the FE sector, in terms of if you look around the country and you see a college that is doing something superbly well, you send them an email or pick up the phone, they're delighted to showcase you. They're incredibly proud, and I think everybody wants that opportunity to show others what we're doing.
What would be your advice to future leaders that are looking to progress within colleges, as you have done, and the career that you've shown us today is incredibly impressive? How would they go about starting their leadership journey?
I think it's just being open to opportunity. So this was certainly never my career destination, and who knows, this might not be my final destination, but certainly when I first started my career in further education, it was very much coming in from a marketing perspective. But then I was fortunate, because I was quite open and keen and interested in what the college sector was doing and how we were impacting others. I grasped every opportunity that was thrown my way, whether it was taking on new projects such as developing a construction academy or overseeing funding. Even though I had no clue about any of those things, it was really about being open to the opportunity and grabbing hold of those and really appreciating everything that was thrown my way.
So say yes.
Absolutely.
Essentially, say yes and then care about why you do it, and learn quickly, right?
Learn quickly, but also even now, don't be afraid to ask the question, even if you think that is such a stupid question. It's not. There is no such thing as a stupid question, because trust me, others will be thinking it in the room, and you are the only one brave enough to ask it. So ask lots of questions, ask for lots of help, because people don't think you are inferior or that you're not worthy of that role because you're asking lots of questions or you're asking for help. Actually, they appreciate that because it shows that you are honest and you're really keen to learn. And I think that the greatest thing in terms of the sector and being ambitious, be open to learning no matter what. Every day is a learning opportunity, and we are in this sector and we should absolutely live by that.
And speaking of learning, are there any books or podcasts or anything else that you listen to that you can recommend to other leaders?
Your podcast.
I thought you'd say that. Let's talk about books then.
Books. Books. I'm not the world's greatest reader.
Sounds like you've got too many distractions at home.
I have got a lot of distractions at home, and actually my greatest way of just switching off and reflecting, and I do most of my thinking time, is I am quite rigid in that before I come to work in the morning, no matter what season, I'll always do an hour's walk. Because for me, just walking out in the countryside with my dog and just thinking about what's happening, what do I need to do, is a really great leveller. I also use quite a lot of kind of wellbeing apps in terms of just unwinding and just reflecting and thinking about things, because for me, I'm not afraid to talk about mental health and well-being now. I've seen the impact of not talking about it on others, and I think we have to accept that we are people, we have emotions, we are all dealing with things outside of work, and it's about recognising that of our staff and of our students, because we can all operate more productively, openly and honestly if we accept that of each other.
I think that's a fantastic methodology. So even if it doesn't have a book associated with it, I think there's probably a few that have been written on the subject.
Potter.
Well, yes, a good bit of fiction always cheers me up.
Absolutely.
I've got one good book for you that I might recommend, and that is What Got You Here, It Won't Get You There. And it's all about what brought you to this point has been brilliant, and you should recognise all of that. But how do we get to the next stage?
Yeah.
And that doesn't devalue any of the impact that people have had, but it's about taking that. And one really good one, if you love marketing, is there was a book called Alchemy, and it's written by Rory Sutherland, which is all about perceptions and how we can change perception through innovative ideas. If you could introduce one new innovation for WCG that you can introduce tomorrow at the snap of your fingers, what would it be?
14 to 16 direct entry education, in that we have the most amazing campuses, and we have the ability and the capacity to grow. There are so many young people that are disengaged in education, they're not attending mainstream at school, and we have the correct environments to offer them mainstream GCSEs along with specialisms in land-based engineering, agriculture, horticulture, creativity, and those individuals really deserve the level of support that we can provide. So that is the thing that I'm most focused on introducing across all of the WCG colleges.
Because you bring them here, if they're not learning in their current environment, you bring them to an environment as wonderful and as lovely as this.
Yeah, I mean, as we're sat here today, you can hear the birds singing through the windows, and this is the sort of environment that if you want that nurturing and well-being and a real focus on your mental health, this is here.
And thank you very much, Sarah Jane. That
Thank you,
concludes
that was
all
a
of my
delight.
questions, and we are away. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Brilliant, thank you.